All right. This week on Let's Talk Texas, the RPT is heading to Houston for state convention next week. How did we get here and what should we expect from the activities at the George R. Brown Convention Center?
This is the issue of this election.
Texas isn't great just by chance.
When you overtax, overregulate, and overlitigate, guess what? They're going to look for places to go.
The classic question in politics: are you better off now than you were 2 years ago? It's Texas.
We will never give up Texas!
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All right. Welcome to Let's Talk Texas. I am your host, Jordan Overturf, joined by my co-host, RPT Chairman James Dickey. Chairman, how was your 4th of July?
It was fantastic. I mean, as you know, the 4th of July is such a special day, not just in the United States and not just in Texas, but for the Republican Party of Texas. It's the anniversary of the very first convention of the Republican Party of Texas. And so as I got to spend time with family, as we got to enjoy fireworks and the wonderful Texas weather and just a great day with friends and family, we also got to remember our wonderful founding 153 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how much the party has grown over that time. The various leaders who have come and gone to help shape this state. So big happy birthday to America. Happy birthday to RPT. I wanted to give a quick shout out because I forgot last week, Texas YR Dustin Trop. I got to give him props. He recently completed grad school while working on the Gary Gates campaign, helping bring home a victory in that special election. And he's working his tail off right now in the HD 47 runoff. So props to, in addition to that, he's also grown the YR, helped us add 4 new clubs at Texas YRs over this time span. So shout out to Dustin for all of his efforts, working hard, completing grad school. He is in the fight, and boy, he is one of the party faithful. So we wish him all the best as he makes his journey into the next phase. Chairman, we got a lot to get to. It is an all convention show. So let's go ahead and get to it. RPT State Convention is a go. What are the basic details of this convention? How long will it last? How many delegates are expected? How many events are we expecting to take place? Just give us a quick rundown.
Sure. Well, it is the largest political convention in the free world in terms of number of delegates and alternates. We have received our list. Our county and Senate district conventions have submitted over 9,000 delegates and alternates. The convention will be next week. July 16th through 18th are the general meetings, and the temporary committee meetings are July 13th through the 15th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. We expect there to be present around 6,000 people, but that obviously is fluctuating as people make their plans and commit to coming. I cannot wait to see everybody there as we do our critical election activity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be down all week, just meeting with various folks, trying to get interviews done for the YR podcast, but also joining together with Republicans in Houston, my hometown. I love being there. I caught a lot of the SREC meeting last Thursday. Were there any significant changes during that conversation?
No, the SREC on Thursday night passed a resolution in support of moving forward with the party's in-person convention.
The final tally on that was what, 40-20?
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, what was the reason the body of members voted in favor of this in-person convention?
Well, an in-person state convention is really the best way to protect the rights of the delegates. If you've ever participated in a Zoom meeting, in an online meeting, it is just not the same as having a group of people in a room where somebody can ask for a point of information, have an interrupting motion for a point of order, where you can clearly hear who and see who's trying to be addressed. It's just not the same as an in-person convention. And because we are a bottom-up organization where the decisions of the delegates are what is most important in setting our policy, policy, it's absolutely critical that we get that right. And doing it in person is really the only way to do that.
Yeah, and following the comments, there were more than a few people who, were a little frustrated with how the Zoom meeting was going. So I can only imagine when you put 9,000 delegates and alternates and guests and all that into the mix, I'm sure it could just become a whole other deal. So one of the big events of state convention is the gala, right? And we have a very special guest for this one. What can you tell us about this event? And are tickets still available? Can people still get signed up?
Absolutely. So anyone who is a delegate or alternate or would like to attend as a guest should go to our website, texasgop.org, and there's an option there for conventions, or just go to texasgop.org/register or texasgop.me/register. You can go ahead and register for the convention, and in there you have the option to have tickets for our ancillary events. Now, just like all of our convention, we are making sure that we've got additional social distancing. The gala, for example, that dinner, it's a nice dinner right there in the convention center, so that we don't have to go out into the Houston area to try to find available restaurants, but also the tables that normally would have 11 people at each one, instead we're doing them at 7 people for each one. So we're going to have a lot of extra spacing out for that. And yes, our special guest for that is former Secretary and former Governor Rick Perry. So we are super excited about that. The RPT staff and committee of arrangements and everybody has been working around the clock to finalize the details and make revisions to accommodate all the things we need to do to hold all of these events well and successful. So yes, Honorable Rick Perry joining us for the gala. Tickets are still available. Go to texasgop.me/register to purchase tickets.
Now, I noticed you used an audible there and just went with the Honorable Rick Perry. What is the protocol? Is it up to him to decide on whether people call him Mr. Secretary, a governor? Like, do you know the rules on that?
So I think the proper thing to do is refer to either the highest or the most recent position. So I would tend to refer to him as Secretary Perry. But yeah, when talking about him, either Secretary Perry or the Honorable Rick Perry, which would fit, as a former elected official, the Honorable fits.
Perfect. Well, and we know he's Texas through and through, A&M grad. So I'm sure he doesn't mind being called governor every now and again.
That's
so
right.
you talked a little bit about how at the gala, we're going to have more tables, fewer places at those tables. What are some of the overall safety precautions and standards that RPT and the convention hall staff are going to be putting in place for delegates and guests who are attending the convention?
Yeah, I've done a lot of interviews in Houston lately, and people are concerned about making sure, both for the sake of our delegates and for the people they'll return to and the people they'll be around, what are we doing to make sure it's safe? We are taking multiple precautions and safety measures. First of all, we'll have thermal scanners at the entryway. So as people come through, we'll check their temperatures. We'll have expanded seating for social distancing in all of the caucuses, plus the general session meetings, plus the events. And the meeting areas are going to be deep cleaned thoroughly after every gathering to make sure to prepare for the next meeting. And hand sanitizer stations will be throughout the convention center. Sponsors have donated masks, which will be readily available for the delegates and attendees' use. And we're just taking a lot of steps so that our convention, a few thousand people, orderly, and well organized and well prepared, will be many, many times safer than the tens of thousands of people who just weeks ago marched through the streets of Houston. So I have no doubt that we will leave a less of an impact than other activities recently had.
And you brought up some of the sponsors going to be donating masks. Does RPT still have some of those sweet masks available? Will they be available for purchase at convention?
We don't have a lot. Those sold really, really well. And yes, they're amazing. They had the Texas flag, they had the RPT logo. They had Come and Take It. We've had a lot of fun with those masks, but we will have some available in our booths at the convention center. So by all means, check those out when you come to the convention.
Yeah, I did see one over the weekend. It wasn't a mask, but the person who posted it said they were going to make it, and they turned the "Don't tread on me" into "Don't cough on me" with a coughing snake. They said they were going to put it on a mask. So I hope to see those. And if they do come to fruition, I'll certainly buy one. I mean, there's so much that goes on at convention, Chairman, from the SD convention, CD conventions, all the elections, gala, the convention hall. For you, though, personally, not as a chairman, personally, what is your favorite part of state convention?
My favorite part is the caucuses. So, and I'm going to be we'll do a town hall tomorrow night. On Tuesday night, we're going to do a training for new delegates on Wednesday night. And in the caucuses, so the convention in a presidential year like this is really divided up into Senate district caucuses where we do the state business, and then congressional caucuses where we do the national business. And we have elections in both. And then on the floor, we also have debates on issues. And so the big things we get done, and this is one of the reminders I have, we have a great time. Anytime you put a few hundred or a few thousand or even a few dozen Texas Republicans together, we have a blast. But this is important, vital election activity that we are doing. So just like all over the state right now, we've got primary runoff elections, and those are going fine, and we haven't had any problems with people participating in those. We are having our election activities at convention. And so in the Senate district caucuses, we'll be voting on the state chairman, the state vice chair, the state committee man and committee woman from each Senate district. And we'll also vote in those same caucuses on who will be the permanent committee members. So you have a temporary committee that does a lot of prep work. Those temporary committees will start next Monday. Those people who serve on those temporary committees have been appointed by their SREC members or state Republican executive committee members. That's fine. They serve in advance and they do a great job and a lot of prep work because there is a lot of work to do, especially on the platform, legislative priorities, but also on the rules. So they'll do that temporary work. The first meeting we'll have is for each Senate district to be able to decide, do they approve of who was the temporary appointment and how they served during that time. So one of the things I would encourage everybody, we're going to be live streaming each of the committee meetings. Follow along from home, follow along in advance because you can A, be really, really informed when you first arrive, but B, you can get to see how you're being represented. So in that first Senate District Caucus meeting, we'll vote on our state committee members. The permanent state committee members will serve during the convention. Then in the congressional district, the first congressional district meeting, we'll elect someone to serve on the permanent National Nominations Committee meeting. And that's the committee that hears from everybody who wants to serve as an at-large delegate to the national convention or an at-large alternate. They listen to all of those and make the really tough decisions for the very few at-large positions we have available. And then the next day, we elect chair and vice chair and SREC committee man and committee woman. And again, you will have seen how they served and who they appointed and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, you'll hear from them in those caucuses. And then in the next congressional district caucus, we will then vote on national delegates, national alternates, and the presidential electors. We actually elect the presidential electors who then elect the president of the United States next January in our convention in Houston next week. So by all means, join in on that. Then we get together in a big, in our general session, and we vote on the report of the Rules Committee and the report of the Platform Committee and the report of the Legislative Priorities Committee. And we have the chance in a huge body with thousands of people to be able to debate some of that and to be able to then as a body decide that that's what's going to be our policy for the next 2 years and to move forward.
Yeah, it is such a lengthy process, and the dedicated, the faithful make their way all the way through. I remember in 16, uh, uh, one night I was up till I think 1 a.m. helping put out stuff in the big hall, preparing the next day. You know, putting out signs in support of the president, things like that. This is also a great opportunity. I mean, we have quite a few elected officials that come to state convention and have the opportunity to address the body. Are we going to still see some of that activity?
Well, that's one of the things. There are two things other things that we're looking to change up this year. And in addition to the social distancing and everything, we are also looking to consolidate the voting so that all of those elections will happen on Friday, and we're working on that schedule right now. That'll be out in the next 48 hours. Keep an eye on our website at texasgop.org slash I think it's slash convention. You can see the draft schedule, and we'll be updating that as we have more information available. But our intention is to have that so that all the votes are on one day, so that people can't be in Houston for the entire time. They can really focus on being there for that day to be sure they get all the votes in. And then the other thing that we're looking at is having less of the pomp and circumstance, and really focusing more and more on the actual election business of the convention. And so we're talking to a lot of the elected officials about sending videos instead of doing the in-person speeches. And I think that's an obvious step we can take to show that we're really there to do business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a different convention this time around. You know, we're so used to all of the, as you said, pomp and circumstance. You know, it's a great opportunity for us to celebrate not just the elected officials, but the Republicans across this state who work together to make sure that we have the right people serving us. So, you know, we'll get to do that at the gala. We'll get to do that within our individual caucuses. I think overall the mood is going to be pretty positive, and people are going to start to get energized.
Oh, absolutely. But it would be unrealistic for the Republican Party of Texas to not have been impacted some by the biggest pandemic in a century, just as all of our friends, neighbors, and family have also been impacted by this. And of course, we will be recognizing that impact in the results of some differences in the convention. But as I said, anytime you're together with hundreds or thousands of other committed Texas Republicans, it is an amazing, energizing, positive thing. And it will be so this time as well. And I am very excited about showing that we take personal responsibility, that we will be careful, that we will make sure that our friends and neighbors and family are protected by the way we interact, but also that we are not going to let anything stop us, just like we are going to let nothing stop us for victory in November. We are not going to let anything stop us from a successful convention.
Well, this is definitely the launch pad for that. Chairman, I know you travel across this great state all the time. And so I've been holding on to this question. For the people who are there, they're just guests. Maybe they're not taking in the convention stuff. They just want to go along, have a weekend away. Certainly after spending months and months in your house, an excuse to go somewhere else is welcomed. Do you have any recommendations for delegates or their guests while they visit Houston? Now's your chance to tee up some of your favorite spots when you're in Clutch City.
Oh boy. Well, my son and his fiance actually go to school in Houston. So when they're at Thurgood Marshall there at Texas Southern. And so most of the time when I'm in Houston, I spend time with family. I also, of course, I love going nearby to NASA. We've got good friends down in Galveston. I love visiting there. There is a lot to do in and around the Bayou City. But I would encourage anyone, by all means, come on out. The Marriott Marquis are our key hotel. There are a lot of other hotels nearby. Come on out, spend a couple of days, be with us, enjoy being able to see that we can set the example of positively opening Texas. Join us. It's going to be a blast strongly encourage that. And yes, even in these times, still been traveling a lot. I was last Thursday night, I was in Denton, and last Friday afternoon, I was in Laredo. And tonight I will be in Bonham. And so it's a little bit of all over the state, and it is a true pleasure. Over the last 3 years, I have done over 400 events in over 140 cities and towns all across Texas, and I love it.
Well, I know when I get back to my hometown, I'm definitely making a stop. My girlfriend and I were arguing about this last week. It's either good or goody. The Houston people need to settle this for me. Is it Good Company barbecue, Goody Company? I don't care. I want some of that jalapeno cheese bread that they make. I'm going to load up my car full of jalapeno cheese bread from Goody Company, get some of that good barbecue. It's a shame, with everything going on, you can't take in the Armadillo Palace. It's next door. A lot of great concerts that have taken place there. But certainly when you're downtown, this is my recommendation. There are great restaurants there for folks. It is a very walkable downtown, plenty of historic landmarks and things like that to check out. Plenty of park spaces. So definitely get out if you can. I got to check and see if Drexler's is still open. I got to make a stop by U of H also, but I am very much looking forward to it. Chairman, that's about all we got for convention. Is there anything else that you think people should know about state convention or to get prepared or be able to take part?
Well, actually, while we are also preparing for the biggest convention in the world, we also have 100 counties that are right now in primary runoff elections. So by all means, get informed about those elections in your area. We also, all of our county chairs and precinct chairs terms end and new terms begin just coming up in August 3rd. We've got so many things going on. I am amazingly proud of our team, which has successfully registered well over 100,000 new Republican voters. There is no stop and no slowing down to the results and the actions we've got going on at the same time at the Republican Party of Texas. And the best way to see some of that and feel that energy is join us in Houston next week for the Republican Party of Texas Vision 2020 convention, where we get energized and ready to go. At the end of convention, it will be 90 days to the beginning of early voting. We are in crunch time. Join us, get energized. Let's get going.
Excellent. Yep. Make sure you get out there and light that candle. Chairman, thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back to it. I know you got a lot going on. Thank you to everyone for listening, tuning in on Facebook. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Let's Talk Texas. You can follow Chairman James Dickey on Twitter at James Dickey. And for the latest on how we are going to keep Texas red, follow the Republican Party of Texas on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.